I've been told that the media I like can be a little strange. From music to the movies I watch and games I play, it's true. I often enjoy things off the beaten path, something a little different than you would usually see. One thing I often like to do on my Twitch channel is a variety day, where I'll play a bunch of little demos or shorter games back to back. I enjoy finding hidden gems, bite-sized experiences, and teasers of upcoming projects to follow and get excited about. Sometimes I'll just browse Steam looking for games I've never heard of and giving them a try without knowing anything about them. You get a mixed bag of results, of course, but sometimes you find a game that sticks with you. Babbdi is a strange, surreal experience that just drips with a certain kind of charm and implies real creative vision. The goal is to escape the small border town of Babbdi, a brutalist assembly of concrete high-rise buildings and industrial features. The menu screen alone is enough to make you realize you're dealing with something a little different here. You know the whole thing about knowing art when you see it? There's a sense from the beginning that what you're looking at is art, even if it's in a form which is difficult to describe or qualitate. The buttons on the start screen are just about readable: Plame for play, Quit for quit, and Option for options. Well, let's select Plame and get started. Beginning the game, you find yourself in one of the aforementioned high-rise buildings. Your objective is to get out of Babbdi, and there's only one way out: the train. Time to see if you can find a ticket. From this point on, I'm going to keep story details light because I wouldn't want to take away a viewer's reason to play the game. I absolutely think Babbdi is worth experiencing, and it's free, so there are a few reasons not to play it for yourself. Enter the first room you see and you'll meet Ivano, who tells you that perhaps you'll meet again someday. Seems you're leaving is a little bittersweet. Take my club, he says. Just hit things with it. Do so, and part of the game will be revealed to you. Your character will bounce off of whatever object is struck, including bouncing into the air if the floor is struck. Babbdi is, at its heart, an adventure exploration game about movement. Use movement to find your way out of the town, but also to see all that Babbdi and its residents have to offer. Accommodations in Babbdi are sparse, almost inhuman. The barest furnishings, dirty and uncomfortable looking, the occasional table, lamp, or TV, a few sources of music, one of the forms of expression which seems most prevalent within the town. And what's this? A sculpture that looks like it came out of a modern art museum? You found a secret object, the game declares in neon lettering. Open the library, and we find the game has prepared sights for us to see. 21 hidden objects and achievements. Let's get after it, then. We take the elevator downstairs, and after a little bit of wandering, hear a strained barking sound. A dog is near. The dog, looking like a friendly little rascal that was tortuously extruded in a 3D modeling program, stands barking at the void. Near the dog, a ball. Pick up the ball and throw it to the dog, and we've earned our first achievement. This is celebrated with a little jingle and the spoken word preview, implying that the sound was straight up taken from a sample from an audio library site, and something about that just tickles me the right way. As you explore, the sense of weirdness might give way to a slight unease. The architecture here is intimidating, oppressive, the lighting and coloring dim. The geometry of everything, even the ground itself, is challenging and not immediately friendly. The people look strange and look at you strangely. Everything feels off. The soundtrack is sparse, unsettling. Your footsteps, wind whistling, the noise of whatever tool is in your hands. The world is still, eerie, static, broken only by your actions. It is odd and it is uncomfortable, but over time you realize it's not scary. While the residents here may be brisk, they won't do you any harm. Falling doesn't injure your character in any way. Your perception shifts, or at least mine did. Things may be strange, but they don't seem dangerous. The people here are some kind of community. They seem to know you, even if they do comment about how much fun they had with your mom. The things you begin to feel about the city are different, a strange mixture of curiosity and nostalgia, if it's possible to be nostalgic for something you've never seen before. I've mentioned that the furnishing in the game is pretty bare, but there are little hints of things scattered around that seem to have something of a similar theme. For instance, in one room, the player can find a bookshelf full of books that seem just about possible to tease into some kind of meaning or worldview. On this shelf, we have a couple of science fiction books. There's Roadside Picnic, a book that pretty famously influenced the Stalker film and video game series, as well as Make Room, Make Room. This is not one I was familiar with personally, but an online synopsis tells me it was a dystopian science fiction story about overpopulation, overcrowding, resource hoarding by the wealthy, and crumbling infrastructure, and also the inspiration behind the movie Soylent Green. Also on the shelf are several books by Jared Diamond, a writer, historian, and geographer who is known for writing on topics such as the growth of human civilization, societal collapse, and studying tribal civilizations as models for our own societies. To the right of this sits George Orwell's 1984, and what I believe to be the first and last volumes of the collected works of the philosopher Voltaire. To me, this collection definitely creates a certain theme: the loss or death of a civilization, living life against our nature, oppressive structures of power, how the circumstances of our birth and environment determine our life. The collection feels like a lamentation for the people of Babbdi, left behind by the dying city or those who run it. You might find more support for this interpretation in some of the characters, like Arthur, who says he's lying flat. Potentially a reference to a social movement of minimizing work effort, which I covered on my video essay channel a few years ago. But of course, I bring my own prior biases and ignorance and blind spots. My interpretation could be very close to the creator's intent, or totally off the mark. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I love the little details like this in the game, the odd little rooms to find. The TV with the jump-scaringly loud AI-generated news channel. The room with a bunch of dolls, accessible only by flying or a series of platforming jumps on the side of a building. The dance party in the sewer with the man who speaks Spanish and seems to be having a good time in the city where he's vacationing with his family. I think. My Spanish isn't perfect. The secrets ranging from works of art to cigarettes, cat food, and a Glock handgun. I think what I really loved about Babbdi was its true spirit of exploration. The whole city is a challenge, an environment to be scaled and explored in multiple ways. It starts with the stick, whacking yourself to new heights. But it may also be a leaf blower to blast you into the air, or a pickaxe to climb and jump up vertical faces. Every corner, every tower, every little room has some little thing to explore and be found. It reminds me a lot of when I first started gaming, in an era where everything from platformers to racing games had hidden pathways, collectibles, and secrets to discover and find. Babbdi brought me back to this particular time and helped me relive the joy of exploring and discovering a world that is carefully crafted and put together. That's really the strength of this short, self-contained, charming little creation. With about an hour of time, you can step into a world someone else has created and set for you to explore. It gets a big recommendation from me. Play it alone with your favorite chill soundtrack going. Share it to a friend in Discord. Stream it if you're a content creator. But definitely consider checking out the weird and awesome city of Babbdi. If you like this sort of thing, dives into unusual games and obscure experiences, consider subscribing to the channel for more videos. Any thoughts, comments, and respectful criticism is welcomed and appreciated. As well, I stream several times a week over at twitch.tv/adnoctummedia. If you'd like to chat with us while we play a variety of games, and maybe see some of those games before they become videos, or even those which never become videos, we'd love to have you over there. Until we see you again, take care of yourselves.